At the time the Busch Series was formed in 1982, Jack and Sam were by far the two best teams.
We had to do it ourselves. We didn't have nobody to scream at. If we screamed at our own selves. Sam and I were the best drivers there.
In 1982, when they were going for the championship, 82, 83, and 84, when they were racing each other for the Busch Series championship, one would win and the other would finish second. The next week, the guy who'd finished second would win, and the other one would finish second. They were never more than a couple of spots away from each other in the running order.
Most of the time when me and Jack were running together and everything was going right, one or the other of us was going to win the championship. Sam and I had formed a want-to-beat relationship. There was never no animosity or anything between either one of us, but I would have to hear that flack, because when I come away from the racetrack and all during the week, how'd I let Sam Ard beat me? And that's who was beating me. And I wanted to beat him, and of course he wanted to beat me. I guess he heard the same thing.
Jack told me that when Sam got hurt, he actually passed the accident site at Rockingham. And he said he saw Sam slumped over in the race car and said, Jack told me, he said, I didn't want to win championships. I didn't want to win races without Sam in the field, because if Sam wasn't in the field, there was a sense that I wasn't going to be beating the best.
And a strong argument can be made that Sam Ard was, in fact, the best. In just 3 seasons of Busch Series competition, Ard won 22 races, good for 4th on the all-time list. He won 24 poles, good for 3rd all-time. And after finishing 2nd in the 1982 standings, he won Busch Series championships in 83 and 84. His 10-win season in 83 remains a nearly untouchable standard, though a late-season crash at Rockingham in 84 prematurely ended Ard's stint in the Busch Series. His name and his dominance still pepper the record book.
His abilities ran the gamut. You know, you have a lot of guys now who are good on super speedways. You have a lot of guys who are good on road courses. You have a lot of guys who are good on short tracks. Sam could win anywhere.
I felt like I was as good as I was because I prepared my own race cars and everything. I built my cars, I drug them to the racetracks, and I drove them. And if it didn't do right, then I knew what I'd done wrong. So I went back and fixed it. Them guys that's doing it now, they don't know what it was, what it's like to come up like we did. Because if they had to do stuff like what me and Jack and some of the other guys had to do, they wouldn't do it. They wouldn't be in racing very long.
Jack Ingram's record is no less impressive than Ard's. His 31 victories place him 2nd all-time. In the 5-year span from 1982 to 86, Ingram never won fewer than 5 races in any season. His 122 top 5s rank him 2nd all-time, and he was Busch Series champ in 1982 and 1985.
Jack was probably a little more of a short track type guy, because he'd been a hired gun at a lot of different local tracks. If a local track had a guy that had been winning too much, they would pay Jack to come and beat him, and more often than not they did. But as far as his success in what's the Busch Series now, most all of it came on the short tracks. But there was no more tougher a competitor ever than Jack Ingram. Jack didn't take anything from anybody.
I would get even. It didn't take long sometimes right then. It didn't, and I wouldn't leave the racetrack with no big deal, but if I had to leave the racetrack and some driver had done wrong, I thought he had done me a wrong, I got him in a position where I could help him in a little bit of a problem, I did.
Ingram and Ard are nothing short of the original Busch Series superstars. They posted numbers that few have matched, much less eclipsed. But sadly, their contributions to the sport get buried in the stat books. Their feats made them legends, but time has made them largely anonymous.
There's a good half of the Busch drivers that wouldn't even recognize me at all.
I will never forget going to an autograph appearance with Sam and Jack, and people coming up to them and asking them who they were. I'll never forget that as long as I live.
A charity thing in Knoxville, I ran into a young Busch driver, and I was sitting close to him signing autographs. He didn't know who I was. and I told him, well, I won a few of these Busch championships. I think he finally figured it out. So we was just as good as any of them was, just as good as Dale Earnhardt or anybody else, because I outrun him a lot more times than he outrun me. So why would he be better than me? There's still a lot of them out there that remembers that were around, but there's a horrendous amount of them that never heard of us.